Hi, I'm Maddy Alexander-Grout, and this is the Mad About Money podcast. I'm here with Sarah Brill and Louisa Willcox, who are both money strategists and specialists within the Mad About Money app. And we are talking today about something really, really important. This is one for business owners. It's about how you manage your time and your value. So we've been having a chat about this, and I just thought it was a really interesting conversation just to spark up where we can talk about how we charge for our time and our value, and also respecting time and value. So I'm going to get the ladies to introduce themselves. Louisa, tell us a little bit about you first of all.
Hi, Maddy. Thanks for having me. So I'm a money strategist and a qualified bookkeeper. I help female entrepreneurs with their business and their personal finances.
Amazing. Sarah.
Nice. So, hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a financial coach and millennial money expert. And I've been working as a coach for over 5 years, helping people save money guilt-free and save it so that they can invest in their dreams and create financial freedom.
Amazing. And if you guys have just come across me, I'm Maddy and I'm a money influencer and content creator over on TikTok. I talk about all things money, from savings to discount codes to how to manage your money mindset. So quite different from the ladies, but we really like the fact that we're all in the same space, but we can collaborate together and we can all work together for the greater good, and helping people to get more financial education in the Mad About Money app. If you haven't downloaded it, go and download it. So we were talking a minute ago about how to value your time. And because I was talking about the fact that I give a lot of my time to help people for free. And people sometimes don't value free, do they? I mean, I think free is one of those things that, sometimes we think, oh, we want to be nice. We want to help people. We want people to engage with what we're doing. But the amount of people that don't show up if you're offering something for free. Louisa, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's very much, it is on the mindset of that, or the psychology, whatever you want to call it. Because I think even myself, I know when I have something for free, I don't feel that pressure because I haven't had to put anything towards it. But when we put something more financially towards it, money in this aspect, obviously, we feel the need to show up because obviously we have paid out to be there, to be present. And I think it's very much, it is the mindset around that. But when we are putting things out ourselves, there needs to be a very clear boundary between what is free and what obviously is paid for, especially as entrepreneurs, because we're running our own business as well. And our time is valuable. We've got so much to do, We're not just going out and being employed. We don't have, well, some people do, but we don't have this huge team around us. We are usually the team, and maybe your VA and maybe one or two people there to help. So when we're putting things out, the free stuff is great. Like, you want to give content because we want to give value to those in our world, and we want to be able to help others, but also we need to help ourselves and our own life as well. So everything we earn in our business, we take home. It directly impacts our personal finances. So if we keep giving our time for free, we're not going to have time to pay our own bills because we have to charge that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree. I was giving the example before about when I paid £10 for 10 bootcamp sessions, so circuit trainings outside, and then I used 4 of them and kind of part them to the side. But then there's a difference between investing £200 into a personal trainer and you're going to show up because you're investing in yourself and you want to do the work. And we were talking before about people asking for discounts, and is that a correlation or a relation with the fact that people can't actually afford it, or they don't value their own personal growth and investment in themselves, so that they don't want to pay it in the first place? And perhaps there's a bit of a combination of the two. We've got to be realistic, but as we were saying before, people have money for things that they care about and they want to spend money on. So it's about identifying, how you can add value to people's lives, and they're going to be far more committed to the process than if they just sign up for maybe like a £20 session. So it depends. Obviously, as well with a product staircase, you can have something that's lower tier, something that's like a premium product, so that I'm talking about services, obviously, with service, and I think it's a lot harder when we're in the service industry because we want to help people,
It can be as well. And I guess I think one of my problems, I'm very visible and I'm always offering to help people, And I think maybe some of it is my mindset from when I was in debt, from when I was really struggling. If somebody says to me, oh, I can't afford that, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll give it to you for free. When really I want to be saying, maybe I should be saying, well, what can you afford? And maybe making them kind of give me an offer. Because
so you have to be careful with that one as well. So I get where you're coming from, because obviously I've been on your podcast before, and my backstory of being a single mum and struggling, I do the same. And it took a long time for me in this space to actually realize, people do struggle, yes, and that's why we put free content out. But there is, again, that fine line. But I think you have to be really careful with that. I've completely forgotten my train of thought.
But you do, you do.
Getting people to suggest.
Yes, that was it. Sorry, suggesting, because I did the same. And someone came to me and they wanted a VIP day with me.
Right.
And I gave them a price and quoted, and they went, oh, I can't really afford that. And I turned around and said, okay, what can you afford? Like, what is it you're looking to pay? And I got back £50. They wanted a whole VIP day with me for £50. And I went, well, I'm really sorry, but I don't really offer that kind of service for £50, because actually for me, a whole VIP day, you're talking 6-7 hours of my time as well. It's not even fuel money to get there. And I decided to actually do like not charge. And I said, look, let's do a skill swap instead. I said, let's skill swap so we can help each other out and all the rest of it. And it wasn't valued at all. Like, the feedback I got from it is, although they learned a lot and we went over everything they wanted to and more, I was not impressed with the feedback I got, and it was a really hard learning point for me. Now I will never ever say what can you afford. I think we have to give price points, and like Sarah said, it's very much about making our services on different levels so people can still access. Because at the end of the day, when you access the bottom level and your business starts thriving, that's when you can then start accessing the next level. Because when you do the lower tiered offer, that's probably all you need at that point anyway, because those are the entrepreneurs or the people that are looking to start off. We don't need the £3,000, £2,000 product more often than not, because we're not at that point yet. So it's just making sure that we level things to the level of what people can afford, to the point of where they are in their business. So be very, very careful with saying, what can you afford? Because again, that comes down to, what do people value you at? And if they're not valuing themselves, and they don't realize the outcome they're going to get from it. And sometimes when you, like with my instance, when you even give them the outcome they wanted and more, they still don't realize they've got that outcome because they haven't paid for it.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, so I have a very different approach, and perhaps this is of value to people watching, because it just shows there isn't one way to do business, right? You've got to find what works for you, what works for you, for how much you want to start earning in your business. So I used to offer like £25 workshops, budgeting workshops, money mindset workshops. And I found people did register, but then they weren't committed. And I had to get really clear on the people that I want to help and support. And to me, they are people that are really committed, that really want transformation. And I know through a high ticket program, I can give much more of my energy, much more of my time, so people see a real transformational shift around their financial potential and money mindset. So for me, I'm the opposite end of that spectrum. So because I don't have a large audience online, a lot of the way that I run my business is through personal networking and connections. So really, I start from the top. So I really work with 10 women at a time. And then that way, if I'm offering a high ticket, the conversion rate's the same, whether I'm offering a low ticket or a high ticket. It's just that those people are a lot more committed. And then once I grow my audience online, then I can start looking at a lower ticket product. But there's no right or wrong. And I think that's important for people to recognize. It's all about looking at how much you want to make in your business, but also recognizing what you want to do with that money. Because ultimately, if you're going to invest that money back into yourself, so that you can automate your business or bring people in or learn, you're going to be able to up level yourself and give more of yourself over to those people, that are your clients or that you're working with.
I think it's about kind of showing the value, showing how you can help people and the difference that it makes to show up. I've got a really low ticket, low barrier entry offering. It's £49 a month. And I get people who go away and they say, oh, I can't afford to pay that. But then I kind of have to show them the value that they've had from being in the membership. And then they go, oh yeah, actually, if I was to go and get that from somewhere else, you know, from a coach or from a, you know, a visibility strategist, for example, you know, they'd be spending thousands of pounds. So even though they can't afford it, they've got to understand that it's a journey and all of that value is there. And I think it's about how they kind of see themselves as well. Sometimes it's not just, you know, it's not just about you. And I think people's money at the moment, you know, people are struggling. So the first thing that I think people cancel are reoccurring memberships, right? So how, as business owners, do we get around that? How do we make sure that we keep people in our memberships? And how do we make sure that people value the price that they're paying?
Difficult one, isn't it?
It is.
I wanted, so first of all, I think I totally agree. You know, there's a lot of talk around cost of living crisis, but I also think, and I spoke about this in a community earlier this morning, that what we spend money on is what we value, right? So we want to be aligning how we spend our money on things that fulfill us. And for some people, that's going to be things like holidays, clothes. I can't remember what else came up this morning, cars, you know, beauty products. Someone said massages this morning and vitamins, and all that kind of stuff, right? And often personal development is also something that people, and personal growth is something that people invest in. So I think when you charge perhaps a little bit more, what you're actually doing is attracting people who value that in their life. Rather than someone who's like, actually, I'm valuing right now, you know, my impulse shopping spree, you know, because you're going to attract someone who's like, oh, actually, my books need looking at right now. And that's going to save me so much more in tax in the long run. You know, I'm actually going to be able to spend 10 times more in the shops because I can sort this thing out for my business. So I think a lot of it is around looking at our values, and maybe us as coaches, but also for anyone watching this, if you're thinking, you know, I'm struggling to save my money, what are the things you're spending on that maybe you don't value? And it might be a membership, it might not be, you know.
I mean, I know personally, I would much rather cancel a gym membership than cancel something that's going to help me to grow my business, for sure. Because I could just go for walks or runs. Not that I'm ever going to do that, but I could. I could do that. But I think also it's about looking at the mindset of people. And I think time is really precious, not just for us, but for people who do memberships as well. And yet I think people need to respect that when somebody is running a membership, that you can't just go, oh, well, you know, I'm not getting any value from this because I haven't turned up. You need to actually turn up. If you're subscribing to a membership and you are saying, I want to be part of this and I want to grow and I want to be in a place where I'm moving my business forward, that's the point where you need to look at why it's not working for you. You know, I think the sessions that we have for the Mad About Money Discount and Business Club, they are all about value for people, but you have to make the effort and show up, because otherwise you're not going to get a single thing from it.
That's the same in anything to do with it.
It is, isn't it?
It very much depends where you are on your journey. So if I go back a year ago, this time last year, I was doing very high ticket courses, doing a lot of learning, a lot of time implementing them. This year, a year later, I'm in memberships because I know I've got all of that content, and actually what's missing out of those is the support. So I think it depends sometimes along where you are on your journey as well. And it's really hard because we all only have a limited amount of time. And I think one thing that's coming up this year, which I think last year, people were working a lot, and I was one of those. There's a lot of burnout this year, and we're beginning to value our time a lot more and where we're spending that. But it's also about realizing that, hang on a second, you don't necessarily have to do those high ticket things to achieve what you're wanting to. So I think it depends on how quickly you're wanting to get somewhere and what it is that you're wanting to achieve and where you are in your journey. it's a really hard one, because like with my membership, for example, obviously, yeah, I go in and you give a lot of time to memberships because you've got a lot of members to look after. But you're right, like I run a budgeting session this morning, literally saying how to create your budget and all the rest of it. And whether someone shows up to that or not is their choice. That's now available in the members area to go and look at, but the content is in there, and it's about showing the value in the group, like you say. But it is very much about talking to members and going, look, you wanted this is there now it's up to you to show up for it, because you are paying for the service. Sometimes it's just putting one thing in there that is like a non-negotiable, that they know if they didn't have that in the membership, they would be paying a lot more for it. So I was saying earlier off the recording, once a month I run an accountability session where we sit down for a whole hour every single month, so you can get on top of your business accounts and your personal household finances if you want to as well. And my members have literally said to me that itself is worth more than what I charge for the membership. Because if you went to, I'm a qualified bookkeeper, I run a bookkeeping business. To go to a bookkeeper or an accountant at the end of the year is going to cost you a lot more than what I charge monthly. So it's giving something, I think, that's non-negotiable. So even if they turn up once a month for that, they know they're getting value. And I've got a membership where I've just joined one, and there's going to be monthly hot seat sessions. I'm not interested in anything else but just those hot seats, because I know when I go to that session I can talk about the problems in my business, and I can get value and overcome the objections and the fears that I have to move my business forward. So it's about showing what you have actually is a non-negotiable. You need that, and this is why you're here, if that makes sense.
That makes absolute total sense. I think it's the valuation of what you're doing within your business and working out what your priorities are, what your values are, and where that sits with you as a business owner. Because if your priority is over the summer to take time off and have time with your kids and your family, that is perfectly acceptable. That is something that people can, and if they've got the ability to do it, should do. But if you want to focus on your business, working out the most affordable way to push it forward and actually committing to doing that one thing, that's going to not only help the business but help your mindset as well when it comes to money.
I think a lot of it, I mean, obviously we're speaking as coaches, but there's probably people in your community, Maddy, who, have other types of businesses, service-based, right? So I work with women who are photographers or work in PR or VAs, right? So depending on what your business looks like, it's also thinking about how much time you want to invest in your business. If you're offering a service for £50 or £100 and you want to earn 10k months, you're going to have hundreds of clients, and serving hundreds of people, rather than if you're just charging, I don't know, £3,000, £5,000, you might be looking at maybe 1-2 clients. So I think it's important to also think about how much time you want to invest in your business and be realistic about that, right? If you're a photographer, maybe you need to drive to go on set, right? So you want to be thinking about how much time, but also not 100% of your time in your business is going to be serving people, right? You're going to also be spending time on doing your analytics or looking at your SEO or your funnel or Instagram reels or working out how Threads works, as that went viral yesterday. There's going to be other things that you want to look at in your business so that you can pass that knowledge and wisdom on to the people you're working with. So I think it's also getting clear on how much time, right? And not having a look at time as money, but rather the value that that's bringing as a conversion for maybe some of the money that you're looking to generate. So
absolutely. So I went to a barbecue, 4th of July barbecue on Tuesday, and it was £20. And I was thinking, what am I going to get from this? It's going to be nice.
On the cob.
I mean, there wasn't any corn on the cob, and that was very disappointing, I have to say. But they did have the nicest pigs in blankets. I know they're not very barbecue foodie, but they were like little pigs in blankets on sticks, and they were really nice. Like I did eat about 20 of them. I mean, that was my value from that, but it wasn't. So the people I met there was so much value in the people that I met. I met with investors. I met with a guy who gave me the most valuable tips on my pitch deck ever. I mean, really game changing on how to approach investors. And that's one of the things that, I didn't see me paying £20 to go to a barbecue as an expense that I didn't want to do. I thought, what what am I going to get from this? So I'm going to get some food that's probably worth £5. I'm going to get a drink which is probably worth like £4. I'm going to meet some people, and that is priceless. And it's about evaluating everything within your business. What are you spending money on? Is that going to give you a return in any way? And time is also that. So if you spend an hour talking to somebody, having a meeting with somebody as a get to know you chat, is that going to give you any form of return for your hour's investment? I'm going to put that to you guys. Discuss.
Yes, it depends, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because I have met people at events, especially networking, who have become clients. And online, sometimes it doesn't have to be a monetary value, it could be a knowledge value.
Yes.
And I always believe in this space, and in a way there's always something to learn, and spending an hour with someone, if that you can add value to each other's lives, then yes. And actually you don't know what connections that person has as well. It might not be that they are going to be your value, but you never know what might come down the road. I do believe in connections, and very much in business, and I learned this very young, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know. Networking and connections is one of the biggest things you could do. And there are coaches out there charging tens of thousands of pounds that know no more than some other coaches who are charging a couple £100. It's because of who they know, how they're putting themselves out there, and the network and the connections they've got around them, that they are able to do that. So I always think an hour with anyone is very valuable.
I do too. I never think that there is a wasted opportunity. It's also about the follow-up. Must remember to remind my ADHD brain that after I have meetings with people, I do need to follow up, because otherwise I'm just digging my own grave. Sarah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was just thinking, I mean, that very much happened to us, didn't it? I mean, we connected on LinkedIn, we ended up having a casual chat, I mean, genuine casual chat just about money. And, we spoke about, so you had a coaching session with me, but also, now I'm on the app, and you've launched this amazing app as well. And I hope that I can be able to support you some more as well. So sometimes you just don't know where connections are going to come from. I do think there is something to be said for not spending too much time, with people who you can see are really just calling you for a free phone call. You do get the nuisance calls. I mean,
oh yes.
So I think it's about sort of using your own judgment and seeing, what the opportunities are, and getting an idea of how committed someone is, particularly in a service-based industry, even asking them a question like, how much of a yes is this to you on a scale of 1 to 10? And it seems like quite an awkward, uncomfortable question to ask, but then you can gauge where someone's at. If someone says, actually, this really isn't for me, that's okay. It's okay. I think often we have a guilt of saying like, no. I think people like suspense, and they go, I can't do that, but I'm not going to say no. I'm going to see if I can negotiate. And sometimes, you just want people to say yes or no, and it's okay to say no, not now, maybe some point in the future. And it's likely that person's going to stop bugging you and sending you loads of follow-up messages because they know that it's not for you. But it might be that someone that could benefit from their service, or vice versa. So I think having conversations like that, I think we do miss out on, having lived in this online space during COVID, we kind of miss out on those connections, as you said, the barbecue, you networked the room, and you met some new people, and maybe you don't have that experience when it's online. So I do think it's a combination, and it's judgment as to whether you think you're
sure. Yeah, Louisa mentioned this earlier, boundaries. I came across something the other day which I thought was absolutely genius, and I'm going to be implementing it for some of my one-to-one coaching. But it's basically like a pre-filler type form where people kind of clarify what it is that you want before you have a call, but also, are you willing to invest this much in your future development? And if they say no to that question, you don't get a meeting. And it's like, that's brilliant. Like pre-clarifying who your target audience are when they come into your funnel, I think it's a brilliant plan. I think, yeah, we will definitely have another call about that at some point and discuss that in a bit more detail. But ladies, it has been lovely having you on today. I think we've opened some really nice conversations there. And I'd love to get you guys back to talk about some regular topics. I think this could maybe be a monthly thing, like, you know, impromptu. I mean, it was very impromptu. We were kind of having a bit of a Friday kind of get together, and it was just like, right, let's jump on and talk
Finance Fridays.
Finance Friday. Oh, quite like that. Oh, I do. Don't put more ideas in my head, Sarah. Well, guys, if you're listening to this on YouTube or on Spotify, you can come and hear and meet the experts in person in the Mad About Money app. It's free to download. And these guys are in there giving their tips and their advice all the time. So make sure that you come and check it out. I'm Maddy Alexander-Grout, Sarah Brill, Louisa Willcox. Go and find us on LinkedIn if you haven't met us before. And this has been the Mad About Money podcast. We will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.